Sioux Falls Council meeting here at the Carnegie Town Hall, and it is Monday, August 16th. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilors Anderson?
Here.
Brown?
Here.
Entenmann?
Here.
Erpenbach? Yes. Jameson?
Here.
Litz? Rolfing?
Here.
Avila?
Here.
Thanks for being here tonight, City Council. To start off tonight, I'd like to welcome Pastor Dallas Dobbins from the Celebrate Church here in Sioux Falls. Pastor Dobbins will give our invocation, and we're truly blessed by that. If you wouldn't please stand, we'd appreciate it. And then after that, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Dobbins.
Lord God, we give you thanks for being here in our presence, and we ask that you would give guidance and wisdom and insight to these council members as they lead us in your town, Sioux Falls. We ask that you would befriend each one here. We ask that you would befriend each one here and draw each council member close to your council and bless them, bless their families, their businesses, their occupations, and their seat on this board. And we thank you for your friendship, and we ask that you would not only bless what we do here at the Sioux Falls City Council meeting, but bring each one here to do what you're blessing. We thank you and praise you in the name of your Son and our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I have a motion to pass the consent agenda for tonight?
So move, Anderson.
Second.
Jameson.
There's been a motion by Councilor Anderson, Jr., seconded by Councilor Jameson to approve tonight's consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, if I could have a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Avila?
Yes.
Thank you, City Council. That is passed 8-0. I have a motion to approve tonight's regular agenda.
So moved, Litz. Second, Anderson.
It's been a motion by Councilor Litz, seconded by Councilor Anderson, Jr. to approve tonight's regular agenda. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilors Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Avila?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0. I'd like to welcome all of you to tonight's meeting here of the City Council. Truly appreciate it. This is an opportunity for you to come up and speak on any topic that you think is important to you or to the city. If it is an item that is on tonight's regular agenda, we'd ask that you wait for that item to come up. But if it's on something else of a different nature, please come on up now. We just ask you to say your name and just hold your comments to about 5 minutes. Would anybody like to speak to the City Council? Okay. In that case, we'll move forward to our first regular agenda item. Item number 5, please.
New 2010-11 retail malt beverage license for Inca's Mexican Restaurant, Sioux Falls, Incorporated. Inca's Express to be operated at 5024 South Marion Road. Full-service restaurant, CUP not required, pending final inspection for health. Item 6, transfer of a 2010-11 retail malt beverage license from Youth Enrichment Services, Burnside Bingo, 1605 West Burnside Avenue, to Stanton Incorporated, the Log Cabin, to be operated at 1515 West Burnside Street, CUP not required. This is in addition to an existing license which predates this ordinance. Item 7, transfer of a 2010-11 retail malt beverage license from Stanton Incorporated, the Log Cabin, 1515 West Burnside Street, to Youth Enrichment Services, Burnside Bingo, to be operated at 1605 West Burnside Street, including video lottery terminals with a conditional use permit 2002-0303 being approved on 6/12/02. Item 8, special one-day liquor license for Washington Pavilion Management Incorporated, Washington Pavilion of Arts and Science, 301 South Main Avenue, for the Autumn Crush on September 30th, 2010. And item 9, special one-day liquor license for SMG to be operated at the Orpheum Theater, 315 North Phillips Avenue for a wedding reception on September 4th, 2010.
Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Litz. Second, Anderson.
It's been a motion by Councilor Litz, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. To approve items 5 through 9. Lori?
Lori Hogstead with the City Attorney's Office, representing items 5 through 9. One item to note on item 5, it does say pending final inspection per health, and that inspection has been completed, so we no longer need that pending item. Otherwise, I'm available to answer questions on 5 through 9.
Any questions, City Council? Councilor Jameson.
I need to, if I could, make a motion to defer item number 6 and 7 until September 7th. Is that correct? City Attorney Dave?
Thank you, Councilor Jameson. Yes.
Okay.
There's been a motion to defer items number 6 and 7 until September 7th, 2010. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Seconded by Councilor Brown. Is there any discussion on that item? Councilor Jameson?
If maybe the City Attorney wanted to share why we were deferring it, maybe that would be a better.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Councilor Jameson, we, in the 25-year history of our licensing specialist, we've never had this unique of a request before, and it poses some very unique legal issues that, frankly, I and the rest of my office would like to take a look at. We've been getting some mixed signals from some authorities, and we would like to be able to resolve those. It does not reflect certainly our, in any way our position on it at this point. We just would like to make sure all our legal ducks are in a row, so to speak, before the council does hear it. And we'd appreciate a deferral if possible.
Any further discussion on this item? Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to this item? Yes, please.
Thank you. We've spoken to several of
Ma'am, if I could just have you just state your name, please.
Sorry.
It's all
Karen
right.
Fogus with Youth Enrichment Services.
Thank you.
In this process, we've visited with several of the council members as well, but I just wanted to share several points with you just so that you're all aware. We have a seller who's very motivated to sell for health reasons. We're moving 160 feet from one location to another. There's a business across the street from ours that also offers video lottery, Jono's. They are not in opposition to the transfer. They realize that the customers and the clientele are different from bingo players that might come to our facility. The American Legion is 1,000 feet away. Also, we've spoken with them. They don't have a problem with the transfer. Burnside Bingo and Youth Enrichment Services is endeavoring to diversify its fundraising ability, as Burnside Bingo is its only means at this point in time of fundraising. We serve about 1,300 kids in the community on a daily basis and their families in fee-based programs. We have, since the beginning of the year, been discussing adding Boys and Girls Clubs programming to the community in response to unmet need. This would help fund that as well. And last of all, we've avoided coming to the city asking for funding. This is part of the reason that has enabled us to do that. Thank you.
Any questions for Councilor Wentz?
Not for Karen. I was curious. It's not for you, Karen. Fine. I had a question for the city attorney. If we defer this tonight, for what period of time are you asking?
Just until the next council meeting, which I understand would be September 7th, if possible.
I guess I do have a question for Karen. Thanks for coming back up. Would this affect your plans then if we waited until the 7th? Is this imperative that we put this through tonight from your point of view?
No, I think that we can move forward. I think there's some concern about negativity in the community regarding this, and that's the reason that we were concerned about moving forward.
Oh. Very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any other folks in the audience who'd like to speak to this topic tonight? Sir, please come up and just state your name.
My name's Parker Kunkel, and I happen to own the building, and I got a phone call from Omaha about this transaction that didn't even get notified. So what happens to me, they're just shuffling the thing over to another building. So I'll never be able to get a license in that building, right?
Parker, would you mind telling what building we're talking about?
Log Cabin
Your
Tavern.
building, which
Log
building is
Cabin.
yours, please?
The Log Cabin Tavern. So if they're shuffling this license over to the bingo place, that would eliminate me from, or next customer, or whoever buys it, from ever getting the lottery again, wouldn't it?
Lori, would you want to attempt to answer that, please, for this gentleman?
They got their 1,000 feet thing. Now they're going to have 3 of them within 500 feet apiece.
Well, actually, it's a 2,000-foot rule. However, that wouldn't prohibit someone from ever having video lottery there. For instance, if the business was a full-service restaurant and they could provide the documentation to the planning office, they would be able to make application there to place video lottery machines without complying with the 2,000-foot rule. Or another probability would be if this was approved, that the same thing could be done with your location and another location. And we are talking about what our current ordinances read at this time.
Sir, did you have a follow-up question?
Well, ordinances can be changed. This town just got out of a bad deal with when they used to have the liquor license. They sold them for $50 and people were selling them for $150. You're starting the same thing. He plans on getting big bucks out of that. You're opening a can of worms, I'll tell you that.
Yes, Councilor Rolfing.
Sir, when the current tenant took that over, did you have the video lottery license, or did they bring it with them?
They purchased it.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Sir, did you have a follow-up comment, sir?
So this is more or less a done deal?
Well, right now, there's been a motion to defer items 6 and 7, sir.
Otherwise, it's a done deal.
I wouldn't say that. I think that right now, and Councilor Jameson, with your permission, I'll just try to explain to this gentleman. Right now, there's just been a motion to defer this to a later date. So that means that there's still time for discussion, not only amongst Lori, but all of the city councilors here. So if there is something that you'd like to get across to any of these men and women, now you actually have more time to do it rather than just doing it tonight. So actually, if you want to attempt to sway these people in any way, you've probably just been given a favor by Councilor Jameson, because now it's a later date.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time. There's been a motion to defer items 6 and 7 to a later date. That was September 7th. Any further discussion? Hearing none, if I could have a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entman?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
So that motion to defer items 6 and 7 has passed. We are still working on items 5, 8, and 9. Any further discussion on that? Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to any of these items? Hearing none, if I could have a roll call vote, please, on the remaining motion.
Councilors Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entman?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Thank you, City Council. That has passed 8-0. Item number 10, please.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the city authorizing the issuance of its sales tax revenue bonds in one or more series, authorizing the use of the proceeds thereof to refund the outstanding Sioux Falls, South Dakota sales tax revenue refunding bond, Series 2001B, pledging the sales and use tax proceeds of the city to the payment of said sales tax revenue bonds, fixing the terms of such sales tax revenue bonds, authorizing the execution and delivery of one or more supplemental indentures between the city and the First National Bank in Sioux Falls, the trustee, and authorizing the sale, execution, and delivery of such sales tax revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $11,500,000 plus costs of issuance and debt service reserve funds. Series 2001B is the entertainment bond.
Okay.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve?
So move Anderson.
Second, Entenmann.
There's been a motion by Councilor Anderson Jr., seconded by Councilor Entenmann, to adopt item number 10. Mr. Roanhorst.
Gene Roanhorst, Director of Finance for the City of Sioux Falls.
Gene, any comments at all?
This is the refunding of the bonds that actually funded the pavilion and the convention center at one time. It's refunding that we want to do because the interest rates have dropped substantially from where they're at, and by refunding these bonds, we will come up with about $824,000 less interest over the next 4 years. This is a current, what they call a current refunding, which means when we issue the new bonds, the old ones will just be called, and the service for the bonds then will come out of the budgets in the city.
Thank you, AG. Councilor Ruffing.
Thank you. Gene, I noticed on the old ones, what was the interest rate on the old ones, or approximately? Because you had what, number of them?
Well, there's serial bonds, and they were up in the 5% range.
5%, okay. So why do we need the 6%, not to exceed 6% in the language of the ordinance? The old ordinance was 6% then.
That language, together with the language regarding the possible length of the transaction, were brought forward from the last refunding that was done. This is the second refunding already of this particular bond issue.
So you're going to go with a 4-year, no more than 4 year?
It would be 5 years. What we'll do to pay it out.
Why wouldn't we go with 4 years then if we had a 4 years left?
There's a technical IRS situation that requires us to go to 5 years.
Okay.
The ordinance, we will not go to 5 years. When we actually issue the bonds, it'll be at 4 years. But we got the IRS that's twinkling around in there.
Okay, I kind of see what you're going to pay them off earlier or whatever. Okay.
Well, what we do is we pay the last year's debt service is paid up front, and that will come out on the back end, and that's how you get to the 4 years.
Okay. And then that still gives us the 800,000 savings?
Sure does.
Even with the all the upfront costs and all that kind of thing?
These bonds are callable at 101, which means we're paying a premium on them, and that is all cranked into the calculations that you have in front of you that gets the $824,000.
Okay, thank you.
Let me qualify about one thing. This is just a plan at this point. This is not carved in steel.
Yeah.
So
that can all change every day.
We don't anticipate much change, but this is not what will actually be the final deal.
Right. We got to give you some leeway.
It will be a public bid for this, and that's when you'll actually know what your numbers are.
Councilor Brown.
Gene, I think you sort of answered my questions, but I just want to lay it out more straight. A refund is essentially a refinancing, correct?
It's very akin to refinancing your house. The only thing is, if you were refinancing your house, you go to a financial institution like a bank and borrow the money. In this case, the city is going to go to the markets. It's going to sell bonds and get the money that way.
And just like a mortgage, there's a cost to this.
Yes.
The cost of issuance on this transaction is?
The actual cost of issuance, the fees that PFM will get is $65,000. And they're our financial manager for us on these kind of transactions. There's also a cost of issuance in there for a non-related party for $35,000. So that's the two actual issuance costs that you'll have. Now, the other thing that comes up, you've got a sources and uses in here. If you look through it, it's going to start at $15 million, but after all the smoke settles, since we've got $3.5 million, something like that, in the reserves, it'll drop down to the $12 million range to actually end up being bonded out.
And those numbers are all cranked in to still bring us $800,000 in savings.
The $824,000 is all in. Anything we could think of is in there, including the kitchen sink.
Great. Thanks, Gene.
Hearing no other questions or comments, is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to this item tonight? If I could have a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entman?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Thank you, City Council. This passed 8-0. Item number 11.
Second reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by authorizing the South Dakota Department of Game, Fish, and Parks to issue permits to citizens, allowing them to hunt game in said city as found in Sections 7-14 and 26-53 of the revised ordinances of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Can I have a motion to approve item number 11?
So moved. Let's.
Second, Jamison.
It's been a motion by Councilor Litz, seconded by Councilor Jamison, to adopt item number 11. Chief Barthel.
Good evening, Doug Barthel, Police Chief. The ordinance that we propose changing, it would actually change the wording in two different ordinances that would just allow the Game, Fish, and Parks Department to issue special access permits for areas that we designate within the city. Just as a little history on this, for a number of years we've had an issue with the number of deer in the northeast part of the city, specifically east of 229 and north of the river, in that area north of Rice Street, up to about Benson Road. That stretch of street or road on Rice Street is one of the highest car deer accident stretches within the state. That, along with property damage that the deer have caused, it's certainly been an issue. So last spring we actually worked with GF&P and got some special permits where we had animal control officers go in there and try to harvest some of the deer and thin them that way. We had mixed results with that, and probably the biggest complaint that we received as part of that project was that we didn't open it up to public hunting. So working closely with GF&P and along with our department, we came up with a plan that we think is going to do a couple of things, help reduce the herd, which is also good for the car accidents, but it's also healthy for the herd as well, and also help out some of the landowners so they don't have the damage to crops and so forth. And as a side bonus, it would provide hunting opportunities for a select number of individuals. Our proposal would be we would get about 70 permits from the state. It would be open only to bow hunting. You would have to get a special access permit once you get your regular bow license. You'd apply through that through the state. It would be a lottery system. Once you receive that permit, we would then require all of those that wish to hunt in that area attend a special training session that we're going to put on. We're going to go through the rules and specifically tell them where they can and can't hunt, as well as some of the safety issues. We are sure that everybody's on board. It's going to be very closely monitored, and we'll allow probably no more than 10 at a time into that area. Once somebody fills their tag, they'd have a 2-week period. Once they filled their tag, then someone new could take over and fill in that spot. I just do need to clarify, last week I spoke that we had 3 landowners that were on board with this. We actually have 2 that are in agreement with them. One has decided that they don't wish to participate in the program, although they were a small portion of the land that we were looking at. So the 2 that own the majority of the land that we're looking at, as well as there's a small portion of city-owned land, are very much in support of our program, and so we would hopefully get your support and be able to move forward with this. I also have Ron Schauer with Game Fish and Parks that is with us this evening. If you need any questions from him, as well as Galen Smith, Sergeant from our department that has been directly overseeing this program.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments from the City Council? Yes, Councilor?
I just want to reaffirm what property this is. It's north of the highway, then between Rice Street and the interstate. Is that correct, Chief?
Yes, actually north of the river, but it's
okay.
So
and it's all private land.
The majority of it. There's a little bit that the city owns. That's kind of by the wastewater treatment plant.
So it's not a park land or any public park area.
No.
Okay.
No. Pretty much the area that they will be hunting is that area north of the river, along the edge of the river, and a little bit probably to the west. There's kind of a wooded area up in through there.
And Chief, it's still only.
Correct. Yes. Good point. Yes. It will just be antlerless only. So the monster buck should hopefully remain untouched.
Councilor Rippenbach.
This may not be for you, Chief. The Game Fish and Parks person could talk about the health of the herd. What does it mean that taking some of those deer out of the herd would help the health of the herd? Can we have that explained?
Welcome, sir. If you could just state your name, please.
Mayor, members of the commission, Ron Schauer with Game Fish and Parks. And to answer your question, anytime you get an overpopulation of deer, you run the risk of disease outbreaks. We see it commonly in other animals like raccoons, skunks, rabies, things like that. And that's one of the things we're concerned about. One of the things that leads to that is maybe overutilization of the habitat and the food supply. But it's quite common in wild populations anytime you have overpopulation. And then when that happens, it's also easier for the disease to be spread from one animal to the other, basically by contact. The more you have, the more contact you have amongst the animals.
Good. Thank you.
This is a time for anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to this item. If you're opposed to this, would you want to come up to speak? Is there anyone in the audience who's in favor of this who'd like to speak? Sir, welcome. If you could just state your name, please.
My name is Francis Brum. I own Eastgate Towing right off of Rice Street. Something needs to be done with these deer. Personally, our company has hit 3 deer in the last 3 years. Last winter, in that hard winter, we had a herd of 125 deer directly behind our shop. We had 7 that we could not get out of our lot. The area they're talking about is north of the river. My building sits directly south of the river. It's Bibbs Trucking, Eastgate Towing, then some residential. Something needs to be done before somebody actually gets killed out on Rice Street. We've had deer hit right in front of our shop, right down the street by Marigold. It's epidemic. Something needs to be done.
Thank you very much. Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of this tonight? Sir, welcome. If you just state your name, please.
I'm Richard Barnett. I like to hunt, and I've participated many times in a similar program they have down at Dakota Dunes. The first time I hunted down there, an abundance of deer. They had people with the Game Fish and Parks in a depredation hunt. It worked well. We got deer. We thinned some deer out of there, but there are an abundance of deer in Dakota Dunes. Through the years, I've hunted there with a bow, and it's coordinated also with the Game Fish and Parks. They let, I think, 3 hunters in there for a 2-week period at a time. It's a wonderful opportunity. Anybody has the opportunity to be in there and draw a tag or draw a permit to be in there. It's does only, and it's wonderful to see the deer and get one. And over the years, there are fewer deer. They're causing fewer problems. This is a good, legitimate answer to this problem. Over the years, it will work, and it's a wonderful opportunity to provide some hunting opportunity, to keep this deer herd in check, to minimize accidents along Rice Street in that area. And I applaud that this commission brought it forth. Last week I didn't know about it, but I called numerous of you last spring when I heard the city was going to start shooting them with the animal control officers. And I asked numerous people about this on the commission. I don't know if you remember me or not, but this is a wonderful opportunity. It's a good thing. And done in concert with the game fishing parks, it'll help and it'll be good.
Mr. Barnett, thank you, and also thank you for getting involved in your government. Appreciate it. Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of this tonight? Sir, welcome. If you just state your name, please.
Robin Jansen. I'm in favor of it because archers are very big into sportsmen against hunger, and nothing against the police department. But if you shoot a rifle round in that area, it's a clear, wide open shot, and that bullet can carry for up to a mile. Whereas with an archer, the average shot is 20 yards. So it'd be a lot safer. Thank you.
Mr. Hanson, thank you. Would anybody else like to speak in favor of this tonight? City Council, no further questions or comments. Could we have a roll call vote, please, on item number 11?
Councilor Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entman?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litt?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, City Council. Item number 12.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property between 8th and 10th Streets and Blauvelt and Maple Avenues from the C2 General Commercial District and the RD Residential District to the RA-1 Residential District, petition number 2010-07-05, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
We are setting a hearing date for a second reading for Tuesday, September 7th, 2010 at 7 p.m. on this item. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve?
So move, Anderson. Second, Entman.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve, and it was seconded by Councilor Entman. Mr. Cooper, welcome.
Good evening, Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. I know how to clear a room. I've done it many times before. This is a request by Communication Services for the Deaf to allow them to construct multifamily dwellings on vacant land, which is directly west of the campus of the School for the Deaf. This is approximately 3 acres of land, and it's been vacant for some time. There's one existing single-family resident on the west side, and then there's commercial buildings on the south side. Those buildings will remain intact with this development request. The proposal that has been submitted is to construct a total of 8 structures, each of which will have 6 two-bedroom units. The rents that I have been told would range from $750 to approximately $775 per month. There'll be about 858 square feet per unit. They'll have 48 garages, 1 per unit, as well as another 54 parking spaces of surface parking. Part of their concept plan also provides for the vacation of 9th Street between Blauvelt and Maple. And they have petitioned city engineering, and that will be coming forward to the council for consideration at a later date. They did hold a neighborhood meeting prior to the Planning Commission hearing, and we did have people attend that had some questions about the development, but at this point we haven't heard of any major opposition from the surrounding property owners.
Councilors, any questions or comments? Yes, Councilor Anderson Jr.
I actually attended the meeting with the developers and the neighborhood. It was very productive, a lot of good questions in there. There was one concern on this, and that was the one apartment complex on the northeast corner, so that would be the lower part there that empties out into A Street. And there was a major concern about that emptying out into A Street because that's directly across from the grade school.
Turn Redland.
They said that they would turn that around to Mabel so that it would empty out that way. There's a major traffic issue in that area. And then the corner of Blavelt and A Street too, they were looking at maybe some type of stoplight or something there. Blavelt has been used as a shortcut between 10th Street and 6th Street by a number of vehicles, large and small, and I would hope that we would look at that also.
Yes, we'll work with traffic engineering on those concepts.
Councilor Rippenbach.
Mike, the one, I didn't attend the meeting, I apologize, I was busy that evening, but I did get one call from a constituent from that neighborhood whose concern was about the possibility of this eventually becoming some sort of low-income housing that might disturb that neighborhood or change the quality of life in that neighborhood. And I did speak with the developer, and I just wanted to make clear, these are market rate apartments.
Yes.
And there is no intention for them to be subsidized or lower income in any way. These will be average or moderate income.
The financing, the design is all based on market rate rental units.
And I know you said it earlier, but would you say it again? What is that market rate, and what do we think they're going to rent for?
For a two-bedroom unit with the garage, it's going to be approximately $750 to $775 per month.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Hearing no further discussion, can I have a roll call vote, please, on item number 12 to set a hearing date and second reading for Tuesday, September 7th at 7 p.m.
Councilors Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Intiman?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. City Council, any further discussion on anything? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved, Litz.
Second, Jameson.
There's been a motion by Councilor Litz, seconded by Councilor Jameson to adjourn tonight's meeting. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilors Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Intiman?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you, City Council. Good night, Sioux Falls.
We already approved George.